to Nerd Index. Today we're giving our final overview tier list of the fall 2024 anime season now that we finished watching all the shows that we had planned. So first we have the shows that we dropped, which we already put in, and they were dropped for various reasons, which you'll see on the screen here. So the first show to talk about would be I'll Be a Villainess Who Will Go Down in History. And I think this was average.
Yeah, it seems fair. Might be slightly high average, but not great.
Yeah. And then we have How I Attended an All Guys Mixer, which was a runner-up to one of the best shows. It floundered in the second half for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Then Whisper Me a Love Song, which we were finding about scores and stuff. And so I would have put it in Take It or Leave It, but I think we can concede to like average and be fine with that.
Yeah, I'd probably put up here, so we can meet in the middle.
Then Do Over Damsel, I would say this was one of the best shows of the season for me.
Could be fair.
365 Days to the Wedding was fairly average. I feel like there were a lot of instances that were overshadowed by just how introverted they were.
They were a pretty cute couple, though.
Yeah.
So, fun romance if you got time.
Goodbye Dragon Life is a Take It or Leave It for me. After having finished it, I was kind of just like, oh, well, okay then, that's all it's going to do.
Yeah, I feel like it could have done a little bit more with its premise.
And the demons for like the whole second half was also really weighing down the runtime. The Most Notorious Talker Runs the World's Greatest Clan, I think, was high average.
There. Fun, edgy.
The Healer Who Was Banished from His Party is in fact the strongest. This was a Take It or Leave It. That one was definitely where it was like, it didn't even feel like it was going to go somewhere. It was just kind of a show.
Yeah, I wish we got a little bit more explanation on what was going on in that show.
Well, explanation about the story beats of what was going on, not explanation about all of the mechanics of being an adventurer. 2.5 Dimensional Seduction would be average.
I'd almost put it runner-up just because it was surprisingly good.
Yeah, for what it was marketing, it ended up being more enjoyable than I was expecting. Yakuza Fiancé would be runner-up. I'm glad that the adaptation was just as good as my experience reading the manga, so that was nice.
I'd probably put it a little bit closer to average, but...
Too edgy for you?
No.
For Nina the Starry Bride, I'm stuck between runner-up and average because I'm going to pull that, like, manga was better comment.
I'd put it in runners-up if it didn't end the way it did.
Yeah, the episode that they decided to end us on within that story arc was just rude, especially since we don't have a season 2 announcement.
So I think we know where Bleach is going.
I got a lot of hate for my thoughts about this Bleach season, but I'm sorry it was not as good as No, not Take It or Leave It. Oh my god, you still need to watch it to know what's going on. It's average. It could have been better. It could have been paced better. Not to say that it's not still beautiful and it's not still serving a purpose, and I'm still very grateful that they're making the rest of the manga into an adaptation. Blue Lock Season 2, I was not as upset as everybody else, but I think it's still average than it is runner-up.
I'd say it's better than a lot of these shows that we have in our average, but...
High average.
High average? Okay, I can go over here next to Notorious Talker.
Then we have Ron Kamonohashi's Forbidden Deductions Season 2. Average.
But Ron.
Oh. Demon Lord 2099, I was actually very pleasantly surprised by this show. I almost want to put it in best because I was there for it. It was so great. What?
That wasn't that great.
Okay, fine.
We have other shows coming up.
What do you mean? There's only one that I can see. Okay, fine. Then we have Spirit Chronicles Season 2, which I would put in Take It or Leave It. We waited for so long just for that crap of a second season.
Negative today. Jeez.
And then we have As a Reincarnated Aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world Season 2. I thought it was almost just as good as Season 1. It was still totally worth watching, so it's a runner-up. Then we have Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest. It's just being Fairy Tail, not really bringing too much new to the situation, so it's fairly average. Then we have MF Ghost Season 2, which is obviously best of the season. Because cars. So if I was going to move something, I'd move Demon Lord 2099. But also, like, I think that the difference between the best of the seasons and the runners-up was very minimal. Like, all 6 of those shows were really good and totally worth watching.
Yeah. So if we were going to go for a top 10, which of the average would you pick?
So we have 6 right now, so then I'd move Blue Lock in.
Blue Lock, okay.
I would move Notorious Talker in.
Okay.
This is the hard part.
The last 2.
I would probably move Nina in. And then surprisingly, I might move 2.5D Seduction in.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So there's top 10 if you truly care.
For my top 10, I'd probably swap Whisper Me a Love Song and Ron with Nina and probably Most Notorious Talker, but maybe 2.5D Seduction. I'm not entirely sure which one of those would get cut.
You have to rewatch to find out.
Any other concluding comments about the season?
I feel like I was more pleasantly surprised by a higher number of shows this season than normal. Like, the expectations coming from trailers originally, way back when we watched them in like October, September, were much lower than what it ended up being for like at least 4 shows. So I'm glad that a lot of these shows exceeded expectations, because it originally felt like it was going to be a fairly slow season. So there you have it, our final tier list for the shows that we watched for fall 2024. And let us know in the comments what you thought and which shows were your favorite of the season, or which shows that you absolutely do not agree with where we placed them. And if you're having fun, please like and subscribe.